Oh my goodness.
Is he still talking about that?
He's still telling a joke over there.
Jesus.
I'm hoping it's not picking him up.
Probably not. I don't know. I'm going to listen real quick.
Yeah, so we're good.
Yep, we're coming through clear. All right, sweet. There we go.
Are you on Twitch? What are you on?
I'm on Twitch.
Well, I'm on Twitch.
I'm on Twitch.
Well, all right, Candy, if anybody joins us on
Fuck YouTube.
on YouTube, let us know. Because the fuck the tube. I hear glass breaking over there.
Yes,
people just
exactly.
trashing stuff at the bar. So table shot, my friend.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's right.
We had a good practice. It's been a long week. I was on your show last night.
Yeah.
Your and Heather's show. And now you're on my show because we've got the
This is
Independence.
twice this week. First we did Tuesday
Tuesday
night.
night, and then Tuesday night rant.
Technically, it was 3 times. Because
Tuesday
you were
night
on my
rant.
show last night.
And don't make this weird.
Yep.
And then now I'm on. We're on mine because and both of us are tired, but we're pushing through because we like to have fun.
Right.
We're crazy enough to do it. So
do I need to get to the disclaimer?
let's get to the disclaimer right now. Let me give you that shot. Let's see the
shot
cave.
down there?
The cave shot gets it just over there in the corner. As we watch Jimmy, Chicago Jimmy, you guys have seen him on here on the show before. He's packing up for the night. We'll be back tomorrow. We're throwing
I love
up.
how it almost catches the shirt that I now proudly own.
I mean that shirt.
Yes.
What's that shirt say?
Fuck you. We're all essential.
We're all essential.
We're all essential.
Okay.
Anyways, notice this place is politically incorrect. We say Merry Christmas, one nation under God. We salute our flag. Give thanks to our troops. And this offends you. Go the fuck away! Chicago Jimmy chiming in.
Go the fuck away.
Go the fuck away.
Very nice. So yeah, absolutely. That's what it's about.
That's our disclaimer.
We also enjoy adult beverages.
Yes, we do.
Tasty adult beverages. Who are you sponsored by tonight?
I'm sponsored by 7 on White.
It's a you have.
I don't
That's
know.
the style, the flavor.
I don't know what.
You're sponsored by
the bottle.
You're sponsored by a wine.
I'm sponsored
We're
by
not sponsored by anybody.
Jesus wine tonight because it's clear.
It's clear wine. We're not actually sponsored by anybody, but
we need to be.
we're getting there.
Yes.
We're getting there.
Yes.
I'm working on my one buddy who owns a market.
Yep, in the market.
And working on him. So our numbers are kicking up there. What do we need more? We need some more subscribers. That's all we need.
We need more followers on Twitch because
That's
right
it, just
now,
followers.
yeah, followers. Because here's the thing: is I don't know if anybody that follows how social media works for video platforms,
Right.
But when you reach a certain level, you're able to become a partner, affiliate. You reach a certain video uploads or whatever for different platforms. And then you can loosely get paid to create content.
There's still places you can get paid for content.
Maybe. I don't know. But Twitch is really cool about that. And they're really loyal to their content creators.
Right.
And they're not going to gank you off if you're talking about something controversial.
Like COVID-19 being bullshit and fucking you because we're all essential. Fuck you, we're all essential.
Right.
I love the reaction that I've gotten out of the t-shirt. I need to wear it more,
Oh my God, yes.
but I change it up. But yeah, I've gotten. There's a
You
few
showed
people
me
that
the
cringe
pictures.
because of the fuck you at the top.
Right.
But the vast majority of the people are like, yeah.
You showed me the pictures of you and the waitresses, and I
Yeah.
thought it was really, really cool considering they're in the service industry and they have to deal with this bullshit.
And I don't know if they got shut back down with our governor's bullshit order. So
Well, right. Well, and I mean, that brings us to the subject content that we're talking about tonight.
Yeah, tonight we're going to talk about it. It's the day before the 4th of July.
I love how you have this here, too.
I always have my pocket constitutions there. We always have the pocket constitution around because if you don't know and you don't read it,
you probably should.
Those who do not learn from history are destined to repeat it. If you don't know the Constitution, you're just opening yourselves up for stupidity, and it's amazing to me the stuff that they do that they try to pull governmental wise.
They're allowed to get away with
Yeah.
due to not understanding what your rights actually are.
Are you out, Jimmy? Love you, buddy. We'll see you tomorrow.
Buddy. Take it easy.
Yeah. Chicago Jimmy heading out the door.
That's right.
Continue.
But no, I mean, that's the thing is if you don't understand your rights, then they're taken away. Or if they're misrepresented by certain legislation that they've done several times.
Well, here's the thing, and you just said it, and that's the twisted idea, not the twisted idea, but the idea that that their rights, as far as you said, your rights will be taken away.
Right.
And what is flipped upside down is the idea that there's somehow rights that are granted to us by government. And when you say it, I say it,
right.
Our rights taken away.
Right.
We're coming from the perspective that no, these are God-given rights that are given to every human being.
Right.
And if you happen to live in a country that honors that, then you will experience that and understand that. But if you don't, then they're already taken away from you. But the reality is the Constitution was written to constrain and restrict government. And since that point, it has been a process of trying to flip that upside down so that we're constrained. The service industry right now, the only reason that the governor of our great state can get away with doing the bullshit that she's doing right now is because she's threatening literally the licenses of the different various business owners. Okay,
On a bullshit technicality.
She issued an order on Wednesday that if you make more than 70% of your revenue from liquor sales as a bar/restaurant,
Right.
then you can no longer do inside. Sales. You can still do outside sales. And they passed a law saying that you could get cocktails to go. Doesn't that promote drinking and driving? Oh, well, no, we just, So now we've just overturned a law. We've went from, the common sense that is lacking is astounding. I'm like,
I got to look something up.
But
Keep
again,
talking.
the Constitution is a list of things that government can't do, isn't allowed to do. Congress shall make no law abridging this, restricting that, taking away this.
Right.
We hold these, and I love the preamble of the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and I always emphasize that.
That's what I was looking for right there. That are among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit
of happiness. Yeah.
Now, I think you and I have educated ourselves enough in the simple definitions of pursuit. Mm-hmm. Okay? Loosely paraphrasing this. Look it up. Don't take my piss poor paraphrasing. But pursuit means it's something that you're continually seeking.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, those first two are God-given all the way. Life and liberty.
Right.
The pursuit of happiness, and they worded this very specifically.
Yeah. They wanted to say property.
Right.
They wanted to say that these unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and property. Because they felt that life, liberty, freedom, being at liberty,
Right.
and the right to own property.
Right.
Because they're coming out of England and a lot of European states, predominantly England, but European states, and they were coming out of that serfdom. Yeah, they were coming out of that vassal state where the lords owned the land, and all you could do was basically be not quite a slave, but everybody was.
You were an indentured servant.
You were an indentured servant, or you were, basically what they would say the company store. You worked for the master. You turned over all of your products, and then he gave you a pittance of what you worked hard for. Yeah, and it's interesting. So I always quote it as the beginning of the Declaration of Independence, but actually, it's the second paragraph. The first paragraph: when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth and the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitles them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind require that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. And so then they go, and so
that's wow, man.
So it's like, look, we're gonna
just
explain.
Pause for a minute on that, because nobody talks like that anymore.
No,
with that kind of conviction,
right?
Okay, you can spend the whole next 4 hours,
right,
just breaking down the gravity of that first paragraph.
And and people don't realize if you get them to read the Declaration of Independence, then they don't even go the further step of understanding the historical context behind this.
Oh, good
that
Lord,
the colonies worked tirelessly to try and reconcile and remain loyal to the crown and stay with there. And so when they write this paragraph and they say, when the course it becomes necessary, that you've pushed us to the point that it's necessary.
Right.
And we're not talking Chaz or Chop over there in fucking Seattle, where these fucking idiots just took over their 6 blocks of a town and kicked the police out during a bunch of bullshit. And they finally shut it down and went in there and kicked the people out because they killed people. They murdered people.
Well, and here's the thing. When you go back just a little bit before that, what was it, 1720, 1730? Please look this up. Mm-hmm. The Appalachian Charter.
Yeah.
How they took a lot of things that they established, what was it, 50 years earlier in the Appalachian Charter, and incorporated a lot of those things into the Declaration of Independence, into the Constitution, into the amendments, into the Bill of Rights, into those things, because they'd already established that and saw that, one, the native people that were already there, they were working cohesively to make a living and not infringing on each other's rights.
Right.
I mean,
right.
It's a really cool and a very unique point in history, because, when you think of, fast forward a few years later, the French and Indian War, right? It wasn't the French and the Indians fighting each other. It was the French and Indians ganging up on Britain going...
Right. And so when they say that, they say a decent respect to the opinions of mankind require that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. And that's when they start the next paragraph, and they say, we hold these truths to be self-evident. To be in our parlance, on my show, on This Is My Brain, I would phrase it as, look, we hold these truths to be fucking obvious, dude.
Duh.
That all men are created equal. You're created equal. Doesn't mean you have equal standing and stature. It means you have equal opportunity. Okay? You all have the equal opportunity.
Yeah, to get out there and hustle as well as
do
the
your
next person.
Shit, right? That all men are created equal, that they were endowed by their creator with certain, and this is one of that I always emphasize.
Yes.
Unalienable rights. Okay? People need to look that up and go after that, because they've actually changed the definition and they've altered it, but unalienable. And then they say it, how do they say it? Unalienable.
What? Yeah, unalienable.
It's not unalienable. It's unalienable. Meaning, if you've ever had to do something where you put a lien on something, or let's say you bought a car or a house. A mortgage is a lien. A car note is a lien, meaning you don't own it. Therefore, you have to, until you pay it off.
Right.
Once you pay it off, then it's yours.
Yeah.
I have a truck right now.
Yep.
Okay. It's got a lien on it.
Yep.
So I can't, and plus it's got a warranty, so many warranty. So I can't put a different exhaust package on it. I can't
tweak
a bunch of stuff on the truck right now because I will void that section of my warranty.
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? I'll wait until the warranty expires, and then I'll tweak some stuff. On the same token, I have to carry full coverage insurance. Now, I would anyways.
Of course.
But I have to carry that because
Right.
it's got a note on it. It's required. They're like, look, you're not going to crash our fucking vehicle and owe us all this money. And but again, it's unalienable, meaning that certain unalienable rights, meaning you didn't grant these. That's why they say it. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. These are rights that government didn't give us, man. Somebody else didn't give you to.
No.
God gave it to you.
Yep.
And it's obvious.
What was that statement that they were talking about? God, it was a couple of years ago about the whole contest of the whole man, God, and government thing. And there's something like 466 different references in all of our government documents.
Yeah.
Whether you're swearing in, whether it's the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, all of these documents. I think I'm wrong on the number, but there's something like 400 and some different references to swearing a covenant,
An oath. Yeah.
an oath
Yeah.
with God.
Right?
That, all right, you may not have to answer to your
Mosquito in my barn.
fellow man, but you will have to answer to God because,
Right.
you're serving in the military or,
Right.
whatever decree it is that you're giving.
Yeah.
And it's like, these things are well over 100, 150, 200 years old.
Right.
They weren't just, it's a clever catchphrase.
Well, and it
we're
comes-
gonna swear you into the military.
No.
Right.
And they even
Thank you, Tanya.
there's even a spot in here, and I'd have to look it up myself, but that any treaty that is contrary, any treaty with a foreign nation that is contrary to the Constitution is automatically null and void.
Right.
No one can serve. No one can be in two stations at the same time. So when Obama went over there and served in some capacity in the UN, he was in violation of the Constitution.
Of course.
Because you can't be in a foreign office, a foreign officiate,
Right.
an official, foreign official, and be in office in the United States.
Right.
And it's amazing to me. So, but it's the thing about this. Again, it's unalienable rights. You didn't give them, and you can't put a lien on them. You can't put a restriction on them. And obviously that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Again, they really contemplated. One of the original drafts had property, life,
Right.
liberty, and property, but they knew that was a slippery slope because if you say that these rights are unalienable, well, that could be misconstrued into everybody's entitled to property.
Right.
And they didn't want to go down that road.
Of course.
And then it says, this is the most important part, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter and abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that the governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all the experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. And that's what happens. That's what happens right now. The show tonight's about independence, and I want to talk about that because our independence has been eroded. So they can't take away our rights straight up, so they partner with private corporations who will infringe on it. We pick up our phones and we do a little, we want to use an app, and so we hit the button, we agree to their terms and their shit, and then the government partners with that, either straight up or by commission or by omission. They partner up with that, okay? And now YouTube can kick us off because they didn't like our content.
Right.
Are you a public square? Didn't you have no fucking right to do that?
Right.
And they go, well, we're a private company. Oh, then you're a publisher. So now you can be held liable for everything that's, no, we're not. We're part of the public square. Well, you can't have it both ways.
Right.
And that's one of the big debates that's going on right now.
Well, look at the whole COPPA thing. What was it, back in January? Mm-hmm. You know, YouTube paid, what was it, $58 billion because they weren't adhering to the COPPA laws.
Right.
And they started just all willy-nilly shutting down channels that, one, already were set to, this is not a child channel. This is adult channel.
Right.
Because it discusses adult content.
We had to do that. We had to update our shit.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah. It's
For
not,
all of our shows. Not just, you know, I mean, even Survivor Girl. And Heather looked at me and she went, it's mine. And I'm like, no, you deal with some really heavy subjects, so it's not child
for kids.
appropriate. Yeah.
Right.
So,
But I mean, they even shut down PewDiePie for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Is he done on YouTube?
Oh,
or
no,
is he
dude.
came
He
back.
just went to a different platform, but he does the restream thing like we do. We restream on multiple platforms.
Right.
So it's like, it's funny because all of the love that we've got, you know, from the multiple platforms that we are streaming on.
Yeah.
YouTube is becoming obsolete, man.
The only thing, I was talking to somebody in the locker room the other day, and I said, they said, you know, asking me about the show, and I said, you know, we're having a blast and we're doing really good. And I said, the only thing that I said, well, if you want to go back more than a week, you got to go check out the archives on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's the only thing about you. If it wasn't for the archiving, and we record, I just remembered to hit the button.
You're doing local record now.
Well, yeah, because if we get kicked off, I've got the first part of the show on there, and I can grab the rest wherever. But we local record here in the man cave.
Yep.
But then we also do, you know, it's on YouTube. And I'm like, if you want to watch my content at your leisure,
Uninterrupted, by the way.
uninterrupted, you go to YouTube with the the archives there. But I mean, we're so ready to be on all these other platforms. We're in the process of working on a couple of them. I've tried DLive a couple different times, and there's something off. One of our settings is off, and I haven't pursued it because we've had a ton of shit to do.
Well, yeah. I mean, let's break down our week to our listening audience so that way they have a clue of what we've been doing.
Start.
So last Friday, okay, so we all come down. I should say me and my group up there,
Right.
came down to help Bill get his house ready for
Yep.
his housewarming party
Yep.
and his birthday party because he just turned big 50.
Right.
And we will have Brother Bill on this show and Survivor Girl and don't
Very
make this
soon.
weird.
Yeah.
Very soon, I will drag him kicking and screaming. I don't care.
Right.
His
Right.
story needs to be, and he's got a lot of invaluable information that we've talked about several times over.
Yeah.
So fast forward, next day, Saturday, we have the party. Someone gets, way too inebriated, not going to point any fingers or anything, totally shits the bed, and did totally miss the show. But I made up for it. Yes, exactly. So on Tuesday Night Rant. But here's the thing.
Oh, you think so? That was you made.
Come on, we went to
It was
midnight.
epic
It was
rant.
great.
We ranted. that episode was like 3.5 hours.
3.5 hours
with the
yeah.
intro thing.
With
So
the
it was like
intro.
3:15 live.
You're right. So, anyways, I had to drive back home, which was an hour and 45 minutes away,
Right.
to do Survivor Girl, and did that. Crashed out for I think an hour. Woke up and I'm like, okay, so this is not working. Obviously, sleep is not my friend. Did my morning workout at 5 a.m.
Right.
Got up, started watering, my gardens and stuff, which I'm getting a lot of love doing the
It wasn't.
gardening in suburbia.
I didn't get a chance to comment, but you had some pretty big zucchini out there in the front yard.
Why, thank you. But that was Monday. Plus, we busted up all of the... Or no, that was Sunday. Monday morning, watered the gardens, busted up all of the concrete you saw when you came to the show Thursday, which was a pain in the ass.
Never fun, buddy.
Totally shit the bed. Had some personal issues that I went through.
Right.
Got back down here Monday afternoon. I got one of the most epic hugs from you ever, as usual. Worked through that process.
You think Johnny Wishbone are not coming running?
Well, exactly. And then we go through and we do Tuesday Night Rant.
If you have any
Right.
movie background,
Come
you
on now.
better know what the fuck that
Come on,
reference
exactly.
was.
So
Come on.
we get the show started late because you got out of work late, and I was still going through working on shit here.
And I cooked us some epic steaks. So
oh my
I had
god,
to take,
the steaks were amazing.
We had to take the time to
grilled
eat.
peppers were.
I switched. You know what? The last few times that I've cooked, I switched from the asparagus, which is epic.
Yes.
But I've been doing those sweet, the red, yellow, and orange peppers.
Yeah. The bell peppers are amazing.
I just cut them in half.
Yep.
Clean out the seeds. Mm-hmm. I put them. I just do a quick flip. They're only on for 7-8 minutes at the most.
If that.
But I spray them down with all natural olive oil, and I sprinkle them a little bit with a little bit of Himalayan sea salt.
A little bit of delicious.
Just a little bit of Himalayan sea salt, and I put them on the grill right before the steaks are ready to come off, and then you eat them. I don't even slice them. I literally just cut them in half. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course your amazing epic mushrooms.
And again,
yes.
the secret to my epic mushrooms. Yeah, you're gonna be on camera, Ma. Well,
we love you, Ma.
Here, Ma. I'll take you off the camera. Now you're on the camera. Yeah.
You're on the camera, Ma.
I'm on the camera, Ma. Where are you going?
She's like, screw you guys. I'm taking my chair and leaving.
Ma's been on the show before.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to hang out behind the bar with Tanya.
Hang out behind the bar. So that was Tuesday night.
Yep.
Wednesday morning, got up, drove back home, which was another hour and a half away. Was prepping for the party that we had, plus the podcast that we did Thursday night, which was Don't Make This Weird.
Right.
Here we are, Friday. I had a total shit show.
To get down here?
And I didn't get down here until, 4:30, 5 o'clock?
Yeah, I was expecting you earlier.
Believe me, I wanted to be here so early. Got a bunch of stuff done that we were working on. Did rehearsals. And now here we are. It's 10:30 at night.
Yeah. We went live at roughly 10 o'clock.
We went, right. And then tomorrow, we have the 4th of July party.
Yeah.
Good times, great fellowship.
Gonna be a blast.
Amazing family. And then I have to turn around Sunday morning and drive back up home.
And do Heather's show tomorrow. Now, Heather's going to be down here.
Yeah, she's going to be down here, but they got to go back because I guess they got some other stuff they got to do Sunday morning, too.
Okay.
Back uptown. So I was just like, why can't you guys stay?
You got to soak up the stuff while you can, bro.
Well, and that's the thing, though, is we talked about this on my show. Mm-hmm. Of how this is a sanctuary for me because it always comes back to the brotherhood we have.
Right.
And the music.
Absolutely.
I was talking with, what was her name? Tanya, I think.
What was her name? Margie's friend?
Tana. That's what it was, yeah. So, and I said, I'm beyond tired. I was tired, 4 months ago. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, we get up on the stage and we do the rehearsals, just the rehearsals.
Yeah.
And you just kind of let go and go, I don't give a fuck. I'm enjoying myself.
We rehearsed for a little over 2 hours?
A little over 2 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
And, that's just this week's schedule.
Right.
That's not including all the other stuff that we've done working full time.
Right. On top of that,
right.
I worked all this week except for today. Mm-hmm. And yesterday, for the last roughly 2 hours, I was so overheated that I didn't feel good.
Right.
While I was working.
Yes.
And so today, knowing that it was going to be even hotter, I had talked to the guys already and said...
It was 97 degrees today.
Yeah, and I said...
It was insane.
I said, you know what, it's a holiday weekend. We're going to take the day off. We're just going to do our thing. And so we hung out here in the AC. Matt came over, helped me finish up putting together my new table saw, which is up there.
I still have to see
it. It's upstairs. It's upstairs, buddy. It's pretty. It's a little oily. Mom helped.
You'll have to show me tomorrow.
Mom came up there and Matt, because it weighs a ton, dude. Yeah. So I followed the directions.
Yeah.
And I got to a certain point and I'm like, I can't. I literally could not. I flipped it. It was upside down. Mm-hmm. And you got to put a bunch of stuff on it. And then you got to flip it over to finish putting. And I literally got all the stuff and I flipped it on its side.
Yeah.
and I couldn't pick it up. The top area where the main top area is like this heavy ass piece of cast iron.
Oh yeah.
It's like holy shit. So he had to come up there, and then he ended up helping me put the rails on. And Mom got here, and we were putting the rails on. And so it's got a couple more little pieces that I need to put onto it. But I had, I got it to the point where it's together up there, and we rolled it around.
That's the way it was after swinging that sledgehammer and the jackhammer.
Yeah.
I got up the next morning to do my workout and grabbed my kettleball. 5-pound kettleball. I fucking died, dude.
Right.
I was just like, you're slinging an 8-pound sledge.
Yep.
And a 60-pound jackhammer.
So we had, you were down here Friday, and I had stuff going.
Yep.
I think we practiced, didn't we?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Because we couldn't do it Thursday.
Right.
So me and Wojo in Chicago practiced. And then Saturday we were at Bill's.
Yep.
And I was trying to do the show.
Yep.
And I came back here and I ended up fiddling around. I went to bed.
Yeah, you were already tired getting to the party.
So then Sunday I got up and I think I tried to take it easy. I can't remember what I did. Oh, I worked out here. I did some stuff out here. Oh, I did the where's the, you can't even see it. It's over there. There's some trim work that we had changed.
Oh yeah, you'd finished the trim work.
Yeah, right around.
Okay. Yeah.
And behind Jimmy's area is where the a bunch of the
buzzing around your head. By the way,
I know it. This fucker hit me already once. I'm gonna kill him. How they get in so quick? If you ever watch a mosquito fly, they're some of the most gangly looking. Like
they're drunk, man.
They're not. They don't look graceful. They don't look focused. They look like, hey, yeah, they do look like they're drunk. They're like, I'm gonna fucking get some blood. and then they come over, and you're like, all of a sudden, they've stealthily found their way into your vein, and you're like, you are the most retarded looking bug as far as flying around. You're like, hey, fuckers. No, I do sometimes catch them.
Anyways, you finished the trim.
So I finished the trim over there Sunday, and I piddled around here, did some more stuff, cleaning and doing other things, getting ready for it. I wired up your shit.
Yes.
I did. I got your
and
microphone
I gotta say,
cables.
That sounds way better than it has.
Yeah.
Ever since the first time
I had
we hooked everything up.
There was 4 new lines that I ran specifically for your area.
Yep.
So when you got down here Monday, so I went to work Monday, you got down here Monday, and Wojo and Jimmy got here, and we all 4 of us picked the songs that we needed to work on with you.
Yep.
We ran through those. I was tired. You crashed out. I got up next day, went to work again. You were here, relaxing, recovering.
Attempting to, at least.
I got here late, as you said, and we made steaks and did that. I got up the next day, hugged you.
Yeah.
You headed out the door. We headed to work.
Yep.
And I worked till 3:30, ran to hockey.
Yep.
Played an hour and a half of hockey. And I was drenched at work, and I was drenched in hockey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then I got out of that. We went and hung out on Jimmy's boat. So Chicago drove us around in the boat. We heard it at like 50 wings.
Oh, Jesus.
From Frida's Market.
Yeah.
From Brighton Market. And so Jeff hooked us up with those, and so we're eating wings, riding around on the boat until the mosquitoes came out there. Like it was as soon as the sun completely disappeared.
Yeah.
The mosquitoes came out and fucking swarms.
Oh yeah.
And we're like, all right, and the boat was dead. So we had to get towed in.
Oh Jesus.
It was crazy.
Wow.
So then, so I was exhausted then. So I went to work yesterday, and I was battling the heat, and we're trying to get some, get stuff done and everything like that.
Yeah.
And the boys, all of us are drenched, the whole time we're out there. Me and Matt and Benny and Vince. And then I came here. I took a shower.
Yep.
I grabbed food on the way up.
Oh yeah.
I got to your place at 5 minutes to 8 before the show goes live.
Yeah.
We did the show.
Yep.
We got done with the show. I think I lasted about 10:30.
Yeah.
So your show ends about 9:30.
9:30, and we started blowing stuff up, and we didn't finish blowing stuff up until almost midnight.
And at like 10:30, I was like, dude, I'm done.
Yeah, you're like, dude, I'm out.
I've got to drive home. And I drove home really tired.
Yeah.
It wasn't as tired as I've been sometimes coming back from your place.
Yeah.
To where I pull over and sleep.
Yeah.
But I was definitely,
Well, and that, before you left, like
cold air in my face and shit like
we
that.
hugged each other as hard as we could, and I'm like, please let me know you got home okay. Mm-hmm. And then, what was it? I woke up this morning and I hit cling, hey man, I made it home, and I'm like, whew.
Yeah, so it was, and then today I got up, we got the combination of the heat and the weekend, and I said, you know what? We're taking the day off. I texted the boys when I got in the car.
Yeah.
I was like, final decision. Not working tomorrow.
Right.
And they're like, yay! So then Matt came over here and he was helping me figure out some of the material list for the extent, some of those things the next phases that we're going to do here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been an incredible week. So then today, we worked on stuff. I straightened up some things around here, but I also just put the saw together. We also just played some pool and relaxed and stayed in the cool. And tomorrow, I put out on the flyer that it'd be about 2:00. But I expect people, when I put 2:00 on there, people will show up about 3, 4.
Yeah, nobody ever shows up on time.
No, and so because the one thing what happens invariably is nobody ever asks, "Can I show up later?"
Right.
Nobody ever says that.
No.
And I used to put on the flyer like 5, 6 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
And they would always come back to me and go, "Well, is it all right if I come a little early?" So I'm like, skip that. I'm just going to put on the flyer that the doors are open at 2.
Well, and you've
Show up
got
whenever
all
the
the
fuck you want.
flyers over there on the door of
Yeah.
all of this, and you've got some over there of the ones that some of the parties and festivities that we've already done.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because
Yep.
look at the times. The times start to get a little earlier.
Well, some of them I don't even like. That New Year's party. I think that was the first one we ever did.
Was that the first one?
Yeah, it just says 7 to midnight. It doesn't even say start time.
Right.
But we've gotten to know, our circle of people and where they're at. And so now I do a start time, dinner time, band time.
Yeah.
This one actually has 4. Yeah, it's got 2
yeah.
p.m. doors open.
Yep.
6 p.m. we'll eat.
Yep.
7:30 the band will go on.
Yep.
And dusk is
we're
when
blowing shit up.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so.
And I did bring my kilt in true fine formed fashion.
I have an expectation of that. Because they've canceled Renfest this year. Tell me that.
See,
Has the one in Holly canceled?
I have not heard about that yet.
But the one that was up by you guys,
the Mid-Michigan Ren Fair between Vassar and Frankenmuth, unfortunately, was canceled because they had bumped it to July for this year. Because last year in June, we had all that rain, that inclement weather,
right?
And it basically turned the whole entire woods into one big mud fest,
right?
Not that we didn't have people coming out and spending time in part of that community and growing it, because they opened up 3 new lanes, I think it was. It's an incredible place. You guys got to go to check it out when they open it back up.
Right.
But unfortunately this year, due to all the fucking bullshit,
right,
and that's exactly what I'm calling it, they shut it down.
Right.
Because it and it's such. Let me go this direction. How Holly, and nothing against Holly, how Holly used to be is how Mid-Michigan Ren Fair is now. It's very family oriented. It's not corporate.
Okay.
It's got that very kind of village aspect about it, to where, I mean, and you've been there. You've seen a lot of the attractions.
I've been to both.
Right. So, and to see that stuff, because, they started in 2008, 2009. And it's such a cool, tight-knit community that's not cliquey at all. Because a lot of the times you get some of those, elitists in the Ren Fair. Snobs, yeah. But they're not that way. They're very.
what's the idea of a Ren Fair? It's to dress up and go and hang out at a place.
It's a cosplay that's time period.
Right. So when it basically becomes a strip mall.
Right. And that's kind of what Holly has become. And like I said, no disrespect to Holly. They've done a lot of really cool things.
Yeah. It's a cool place to go.
It is a very cool
But
place
if you
to go.
if you want to really enjoy yourself, you better save up a little bit of money because
Right.
the shows are few and far in between. What do they have? 4 stages still? 5 stages?
Something like that. See, and the issue that I have, and like I said, nothing against Holly, but ever since my buddy Owen Fife, who
Fife?
Does
he play a fife?
No, he actually plays
Fiddle?
Is
If
it,
Fife played a fiddle, that'd be freaking sweet.
it's a guitar.
A guitar?
It's a medieval version of the guitar.
So it's the one with the big round back body
No.
and the flipped.
It's a weird. I don't know. I've got to be mispronouncing, but anyways, Owen Fife, the New World Renaissance Band.
It's a flugelstringer.
Yeah, right. Flugelstring. But no, this guy was so cool. I was 16 the first time I met him. Okay, because we went there on a class field trip.
Right?
Okay, and I just started growing my hair out. I had a leather jacket.
Oh, that's when you had hair.
Right.
Yeah.
Really, really out of place at a Ren fair, okay? Leather jacket, shades, the whole 9 yards. He thought I was some Renaissance guy from South America.
Really?
The Renaissance.
Because you would fit in perfect down there.
Yeah, right. So he looks at me and he starts calling me this guy's name, and I'm just like,
Are you talking to me?
right. And he's like, oh, it's got to be you, man. Why are you doing this? And like, real cool. Owen Fife was just one of those amazing guys. And he's like, hey, after show, come hang out.
Right?
I'm 16, okay?
And you're like, hang out, bro.
I'm like, okay, I have to go back with my field trip, right? He's like, okay, cool. We'll catch you next year, right? And so we go there. 2 years later, I'm 18, right?
Right?
Immediately recognizes me. And the stage that they actually dedicated to Owen Fife
Okay.
is the stage that he played on all the time. It was just before the hookah tent, which was great because he'd play and we go smoke hookah in the hookah tent, which with all the fancy ladies.
Fancy ladies.
But
Is hookah just a form of tobacco? What is it?
no, hookah is it's wet tobacco called shisha, and it's all based off of like water vapor, but you're smoking it like it's amazing. You have to try it. But anyways, so getting to know Owen Fife in the New World Renaissance Band, he continually invited me to all of these after the festivities parties.
Right.
Now, anybody that has been in any sort of Renaissance circle, you know that all kinds of shenanigans go on because they're doing a lot of time period stuff. Shenanigans, right? During the day because they're portraying a specific time period.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Some of it, okay, kind of period correct. Anybody that knows the after shows, once the place is closed down and they have the after parties,
Yeah. They're off the chain.
that's when the legit, okay, yeah, this is totally like a snapshot out of the Renaissance period. And it was great because Owen was a world traveler.
Right.
Okay? He toured all over Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Russia, China, South America, tons of different islands in the Pacific, right?
Right.
So this guy always had top shelf alcohol.
Nice.
He would have like literally the creme de la creme tequila that they made once every 10 years from someplace in South America.
Right.
And he'd be like, here's the good stuff. And you got, a shot.
Right.
And of course, you drink it, you feel something cold in your shoulder, look up, it's the floor, and you're like, but it tasted like water. Mm-hmm. And it was freaking amazing. But that was the great part about it. Owen Fife, look this up. Don't take my word for it. Look it up.
You just look at the computer to see if that was.
Well, I didn't know if
You're down here.
right. Oh, that's right. Okay, so here we are. Oh, hey, LFA's jumping in. Hey, what's going on, LFA? We were talking about independence, but
But we've rabbited.
we rabbited it for a minute because I was talking about my buddy Owen Fife because he was one of those guys that literally spoke the universal language, and the reason why I say that is because one, huzzah,
Right.
all these other great sayings
Yeah.
that were multicultural. He bridged the gap and understood so many different languages. Like the dude just had a haunting voice and was able to create that sense of independence from a music standpoint.
Right.
Of people that would come see him perform. Like if you weren't moved by his performances,
You weren't paying attention.
you weren't paying attention.
Right.
There's something severely damaged in your brain because he was one in a gazillion.
Damaged planet.
Right. This guy just knew how to perform.
Mom's going up. It is 11:45, Ma. It's there somewhere. Can you bring me a water before you go? Water, please.
And a refill.
Tony wants a refill. No, just a water.
I want a refill, please. But yeah, that's, what's so cool about the Ren Fair is you get to meet so many different people from so many different walks of life. And thank you. Mm-hmm. What's great is we were talking about the serfdom elements. So you get to see that.
Right.
Because, there's the king and the queen's court and so on and so forth. And you can have, the jester.
Right.
That's just like, well, I'm basically the king and queen's bitch.
Right. And then you kind of snap back.
Right. And you go, wow. And like Holly, the Michigan Ren Fair, a bunch of these other places, like, I don't know, do you know what the SCA is?
No.
Well, they teach you how to fight with a sword and shield.
Okay.
In Stony Hills of Penzic. Amazing time. I'm just saying. But they legally teach you. It's just like a martial art form.
Okay.
Only you're in full gear, and you're taught properly how to fight with a sword and shield. And then they've got Florentine, which is basically dual hand weapons and daggers and this, that, and the other thing. And it's a huge event they do, and it's such a cool thing that they show and teach. And then you have other people where you literally move up rank like in martial arts. Mm-hmm. And I don't give a shit how much of a Barney badass you are. You strap on full gear, and then you go fight.
Yeah. What's the weight of that?
Well, I went a couple of years to Penzic, and of course they have the knights and stuff like that, and you have to address them as their rank.
My lord.
Right, my lord.
My lord. My lord. My lord.
Go fuck yourself.
Stormtrooper. Stormtrooper.
But no, I put on a full plate mail for riding and actually got on a horse. That shit was 125 pounds on top of everything.
Wow.
Not including the shield.
Yeah.
And the claymore that you had to carry.
Right.
Because you got to think, a claymore's 6 foot. Right? I'm 5'5" on a good day.
With stilts.
And, here you are, you're wearing an extra 25 pounds of hardcore heavy metal.
That's another person.
Right. What do you think about the remaining everything like Cass in Michigan? What? Renaming everything like Cass in Michigan. What are you getting at, El Jefe?
I don't know what that is.
But yeah, I mean, it's really cool because it gives you an appreciation to going back to the stuff that we were discussing.
Yeah.
Of now the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. And contrary to popular belief, there was a lot of people, because I look at the ideology they explored in the movie like Braveheart.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
One of his things is he was driven by revenge.
Yes.
His uncle was like, okay, I'm going to teach you how to use this before you learn how to use this. Mm-hmm. And that was brilliant because, not saying that it's required reading, but it should be for most people. Learn where you come from so you know where you're going.
Right. Absolutely.
And the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the amendment.
This should be
required reading.
This should be what you read in English class every year. You should be reading this, and then discussing it, and then having. I mean, it's good. It's just common sense, dude.
I would sit there and have discussions with my children over dinner about, hey, what does the pursuit of happiness mean to you? What does liberty mean to you? What does holding a truth to be self-evident mean to you? And go through and take these specific phrases and break them down and go, okay.
Well, just like we're saying about unalienable.
Right.
You can't put a lien on this.
Right.
You can't encumber this. We hold these truths to be self-evident that among their unalienable rights.
Right.
These are not things granted to us by the government. In fact, we grant government the power to protect our
let me see
interests.
For a second on the camera there. No, well, you actually have it on the outside of it. Give me a shot here.
You want my camera?
Yeah, we'll go to your camera. Okay.
Oh shit! I went to
Wrong one.
your camera.
Okay. Do you see what it says at the very top of the page there? We the people.
Yep. In order to form a more perfect union, do ordain and establish this Constitution.
And here's the interesting thing about that. All right, it says, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
Does it say the?
What? For the
United States?
The United States of America.
Because before the Civil War, they referred to,
this is right here.
More often they referred to these United States.
Right.
In most of the correspondence. It was after the Civil War when we fought against slavery, of course.
Right.
But the principle was that states had the right to secede from the Union.
Right.
Because they were these United States of America, not the United States. And there's a reason that that word is important, is because it's a distinction between the government, the federal government being the predominant versus the state governments being the predominant. And the way the Constitution of these United States is set up is that the federal government is subservient in many cases, other than what they just said.
That's what
other than the common defense of these United States. That's why statehood was so important and powerful, because you made yourself a member state, and then there was a collective protection. There was a collective direction, but that overall collective umbrella didn't supersede states' rights. In fact, I've been really impressed with Trump. I think the COVID-19 obviously has been all bullshit, but the way that the president handled it was, he said, here's the guidelines that we've put together and that we're recommending. And he was listening to Fauci, which Fauci's a little demon, and he'll get rid of him at a certain point. But he said he was, they said, well, what about this and what about that and what about that? He goes, I'm going to let each state, we're going to send help. We're gonna do what we can to help, but it's up to each individual state to make their own determinations. And the unfortunate thing is, and we've talked about that, is that somebody like on the conservative side, on the right-hand side of the arguments, those people tend to hamstring themselves by honoring and obeying the constraints that are presented to them. Whereas on the other side, typically the left side, the liberal side, and I use that term because sorry, we're on that chat. Let me go check it. Because there's no holds barred. There's no holds barred, Yeah. I don't know who said it started. And then El Jefe tuned in and said,
the original guy whose last name was Cass, and stuff like Cass River, Cass City, Cass whatever, our governor and other people trying to eliminate caste because he owns slaves.
Oh my God. Can you stop already?
Well, and that's the thing is what I'm looking for, and I'm having trouble finding it.
Our governor is just a political hack.
What was the section that we have the ability to defend ourselves against terrorists, foreign and domestic? Where was that at?
That's an oath.
Was that the military oath that they took for?
Let me look it. Let's look it up real quick.
I can't remember where it was at, but I mean that's the thing is there's also, damn it, there was something put into what was one of the amendments. It was a very short clause that kind of echoed that.
It is the.
I can't remember what
it's
it
the
was.
U.S. Senate. That's what this is saying. Yeah, it's not in the Constitution. It's an oath of enlistment in the Army or an oath in the Senate, where it says that I swear or affirm to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So it's not necessarily something in the Constitution, but it's an oath to defend the Constitution.
Right, but there was also something in one of the amendments, and I can't remember where the hell it was at, that kind of piggybacked on that, and the wording was slightly changed. And for the life of me, I can't remember where it's at. And I can never find it when I'm trying to talk about it.
And it may be, I have to read that, 'cause that's a good point. It may be in here.
Right, well, and that's the thing, is I can never remember.
An oath to defend the Constitution.
Right, but the wording was along those lines of defending against terrorists, foreign and domestic, and then it went on to something a little different. But basically, it was defending the Constitution, like you had said, for being sworn into the military and the Senate. But there was also something else that went along with that, which I don't know if it was from that clause for the military and the Senate that did that, or it was the Constitution or the amendments or the Bill of Rights or whatever it was that preempted that, because they kind of existed at right around the same time. Because the United States military was what? Shortly after the Revolutionary War is when they established what was the Army and the Navy?
Well, isn't the Marines 1787 or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
I know Candy's at the computer. Hi, Candy. She might want to look a few things up. A few of these things.
Find
up
out
first.
the military, which branches were established, and what years they were.
So I want to get back to the main idea of what we're doing with the independence. And what bothers me most right now is that everything that's going on, social media, the mainstream media, the dying mainstream media, political hacks all over the place on the left and right. You know, we can sit here and talk about certain things, but at the end of the day, if we start talking about certain things being two white guys, especially with bald heads,
Right.
we're going to be immediately judged by the color of our skin. Not
And we're white supremacists and all this other bullshit.
And I got a ton of black friends.
Well, and that's the crazy part about that is ethnicity, race, it's all meant to divide us. And I love the quote that Sam Jackson, damn it, who was it? The guy that did all the Penguin voiceover videos. Shawshank Redemption.
Morgan Freeman,
thank you.
You confusing Sam Jackson with Morgan Freeman.
Well, I mean,
have you ever heard?
They're
Morgan
both
Freeman?
badass motherfuckers. I'm just gonna say, but no. Morgan Freeman said, "Look, the more you keep talking about it, the more racism's going to exist. For the simple fact is that you guys just simply can't let it go because the common denominator is we're human."
Right, and that's what. And I've sat with diverse groups of people, and I go, I don't care about your skin color or whatever, but then I do, because I'm interested in you, and you have a background, a heritage, something that you bring to the table. So on one side of the table, I don't care.
Right.
But on the other side of the table, I do care because I'm curious about you. But I don't care to prejudge you or see a limitation.
Well, and there's culture that comes with it, and that's the fascination about that.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at all of these leaders, I want to say not social justice warriors, but leaders in the other ethnicity groups.
Yeah.
That are going, what the hell are you guys doing?
But there's a lot of people that it's, again, what we are dealing with is this divide and conquer. I looked at it. They took away all of the small businesses, like this barber up here in Owasso, who
I love that dude. Like, I totally shared that story all over social media.
77 years old, and he's like, you know what?
I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck. And they're like, we're going to take your license. He's like, fucking take my license. You think that license gives me the ability?
Right.
And that's what licensing is about. And I knew about this 25 years ago.
Right.
That licenses were brought about and instituted. One of the first, they have this big debate over marriage licenses.
Yeah.
And some of the first marriage licenses in the colonies were instituted to restrict certain people from marrying other people because you had to get a license.
Right.
So the idea of a license is this simple. A license is put in place for you to, what they do is they tacitly make something illegal to do.
Right.
And then give you permission, a license to break the law.
Now, let me ask you this, because I know there's a lot of the old country traditions that are still somewhat honored by that, and based on, obviously, the county that you live in. Is hand fasting still technically that you are married to each other?
I don't know what hand fasting is.
Hand fasting is like, okay, so in a lot of the Celtic traditions, is if you are swearing a covenant between man and wife,
Yep.
you're hand fasting by
Oh, the straps?
the straps.
Yep.
And then obviously you're swearing a covenant to each other. That technically, according to a lot of the history stuff, meant you were married because you didn't need the approval of whoever.
Right.
So that way it prevented whatever lord or knight or whatever using, what was it, premacturna or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. To where,
Prima nocta.
prima nocta, that's what it was, yeah. To save your wife from basically being raped by the lord or the knight
Right.
of the land.
But that's where licenses, again, they give you a marriage license because they outlawed marriage, basically. And then you have to get permission from the state. They give you a license to do that. And shit, when my first marriage, we had to go to, we had to do an AIDS class.
Stupid shit.
Years before that, they had to do blood tests. And if memory serves me correctly, they had to do the reason that they instituted marriage licenses in the first place was to prevent a black man from marrying a white woman or something along that lines. There was an interracial marriage that was going to occur, and so they rushed and made it illegal and said, no, you can't do this. And so it was complete bullshit. But again, a driver's license does not make you a better driver.
No.
Taking it away from you doesn't make you a worse driver. I have a builder's license.
Right.
It doesn't make me any. I know a lot of people that have builder's license, and I'm like, you're not that good at what you shouldn't be building fucking Lincoln logs, let alone building somebody's house. But what you got, hon?
Oh, what you got for the military dates?
Okay, so the first was Army.
Okay.
And what year was
1775.
1775.
That's the oldest official. All right.
And then the
Okay.
next would be the Air Force, which was part of the Army until 1947.
Oh yeah, because the Air Force was
Okay.
they had the U.S. What was it called? Is it in there? If we scroll down. No. What was it called? The Air Force was called Army Air Corps. Yeah.
Army Air Corps.
Yep.
Right, and then the Navy, which was...
Marine Corps was.
Navy was 1775 too.
So it was
1798.
What was it? 1798.
However, Congress established the Marine Corps as a separate service.
Right.
1798. I said
Okay.
90. Didn't I say 1797?
I think I said 1796, wasn't it?
Whatever I said.
I don't know.
was
Play the
off.
tape back. It's on there. But no, I mean, that's the thing is when you look at this stuff, this was
Yeah.
a year before we declared our independence.
1775.
17
Well, and that's the interesting thing too. That was something I was thinking about before we were doing the show. We're talking about independence. Is people don't realize we're celebrating July 4th as the, as the day that we celebrate our Declaration of Independence.
Right.
But everything was signed on the 2nd, or was officiated on the 2nd,
Yeah.
and then it was announced on the 4th.
Yeah.
And I heard somebody the other day, and they were very articulate about this, and I tended to agree with them. And they say, people tend to look at, July 4th, 1776 as the birth of the nation. He goes, when the Constitution was implemented,
Right.
that was truly the birth of a nation, because that's the foundation
Of course.
for the country. The Declaration was the first shot, or the
Right.
conception. That's
Right.
what he said. Conception, but it didn't give birth.
What?
And that's very important to note these different dates. And you realize that the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments, were, they couldn't get all the states to agree to ratify the Constitution until most of the states wanted assurances that the Bill of Rights would be ratified, in
Right.
quick succession.
Right.
They're like, we'll agree to this if you make sure that the Bill of Rights is included. Otherwise,
Forget it.
forget it.
Yeah.
Because we're not just going to have this open-ended thing. They wanted to make sure that they're like, yeah, we hold these truths to be self-evident, but you know what? We can foresee some bad motherfuckers rising up in here
Right.
and going, is it self-evident? Yeah, we wrote it down so you couldn't fuck with it.
Yeah, right. Well, and I mean, that's the thing is when you look at that, 18, 19, 20, 21 year olds, plus older gentlemen, obviously patriarchs,
Yeah.
are great founding fathers, putting the shit together on paper, sitting down and reasoning with one another and going, look,
Yeah.
future generations are going to fuck this up.
Yep. So let's do the best we can.
So let's do the best we can in trying to navigate this.
Isn't that the quote that Franklin, when they came out of the Constitutional Congress? Because that's
Right.
Washington didn't consider himself to be the first president.
No.
He considered there were 4 presidents before him that were presidents of the Continental Congress.
Right. Right.
And that's where we get the Army. That's where we get that, is they had the Continental Congress, and they were colonies.
Right.
And then they became states, independent states. Yeah, getting tired over there, buddy. But that's the interesting thing about it is looking at the dates and how everything goes. It just didn't happen, We didn't just declare independence. And 1776, July 4th.
Is the date
That was
actually set?
Congress adopted it on July 4th.
Okay.
But it was signed
July
on the
2nd.
2nd. Yeah.
Right.
And then when we look at the Constitution, well, they had the date on there, but they're not saying the date. I want to say it was 1789. It was obviously when they did the
Marines.
Marines and
Well, and that's what's so incredible
or
about
1790. They said 98.
I
was for the
love
Marines.
movies like National Treasure. Mm-hmm. Okay, yes, it's a Hollywood depiction of some crazy fantasy thing, but it makes you go back and look at these pieces of history that actually happened, and you have all of these signs. Philadelphia, Boston, New York, North Carolina, Virginia, all of these places where these buildings still exist today.
Right.
And you can go visit them, but most of them are museums. They still have the cobblestone streets. They still have, what was it? The one bar that was shut down. I don't remember. What was it during the Revolutionary War? And then more or less it became a speakeasy, and was a speakeasy all the way up until, what was it, the 1920s, when Prohibition happened.
Right.
And then finally when Prohibition happened, they were actually able to sell alcohol legally, which was so weird. Like, look this up. It's a really cool place. And I went, oh, that's interesting. Because I think it was called A Weird History or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a really cool YouTube channel, which I'm not supporting YouTube because fuck YouTube. But no, the creators, the content creators, I support 1,000%.
Yes.
Because they present very cool things that actually happen in history. And you can go back and you can look this stuff up. But we have some very unique history on how these documents were created of people that I wouldn't necessarily say smarter than us, but were able to put their differences aside regardless of political backgrounds.
They were much more focused. They didn't have YouTube.
Well, but the thing is they were able to put their differences aside and go, look, this is bigger than all of us. Mm-hmm. We should probably do something about this because we've got, what was it, King George during the Revolutionary War?
Yeah.
Yeah. Going, all right, look, I'm going to tax the shit out of you colonists because you guys are being little ungrateful assholes because I gave you everything. And they're going, wait a minute. Didn't we just fuck you up with the Boston Tea Party?
No.
But legit, I mean, these guys went, no. We're not.
1787.
1787.
Let's see, the Constitution was born in 1787, but it took until 1788 for the document to be adopted by New Hampshire and became the 9th state to ratify, and they needed a 2/3 majority.
Right.
It was drafted May 25th, 1787, but it took until June 21st, 1788 for New Hampshire to ratify it, which then the other ones followed in quick succession.
See, and that's the crazy part about it. When you look at that.
Good Lord.
Wow.
On the show, even.
This wasn't just a bunch of people who got in a room and hammered some shit out. Mm-hmm. No, there was a process. You know, years went by of going, maybe I'm on board with this, maybe I'm not. But regardless of religious, political, social differences, they were still able to come together and go, okay, this is bigger than all of us. We need to pull our heads out of our ass.
Right.
Unite and create a future for our grandchildren's grandchildren. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't that long ago. I mean, when you look at it, we're in the year 2020 right now? We're July 3rd?
We're in 20 quarantine.
Right, 20 quarantine. Okay. 1776 was not that long ago.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
225 years, and look at some of the other nations that have been out there and some of the other civilizations that have been out there.
I mean, Rome was 482 years old?
Well, there was another 1,000 years of the Eastern Kingdom.
But that's my point, though, is you look at all of these civilizations that had very similar structures. Like this was a culmination of
absolutely
many different.
This is Greco-Roman culture,
Greek culture.
Yeah, Greek and Roman culture,
right?
And certainly the Magna Carta.
Yep.
And it was a continual process of moving towards this independence. And so what bothers me today is the overreach of our government servants, like our governor here, Whitmer, Hitler, just arbitrarily shutting things down. And she's using what they have at their advantage. If she didn't have the power over these businesses and corporations to yank liquor licenses and to yank personal licenses, she couldn't get away with this shit. Nobody would comply.
Well, you brought up a very valid point that, dealing with Menards, because fuck Menards.
Which assholes.
That if people seriously would go back to this and pull this shot up, okay? Because I want to highlight this right here again. We the people.
Right.
Can you guys see that? That's what it says. We the people. And you brought this up, and it was one of the first things that you said. Look, if we the people would just fucking unite, this bullshit would not stand.
Absolutely.
But it's fear mongering, it's fear driven, and you know, you've got the hour of disbelief and doubt on every single television in the United States.
Absolutely. I mean, it's fear mongering.
Right.
It's what they keep calling it. I like that term. It's not, to me, it's not accurate in the truest definitions, but the fear porn.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And they just use this
Well, but it's
fear porn
perverted as shit, because the simple fact is, well, hey, what if?
Well, they go, there's an uptick, there's a surge. There's a surge in cases.
Right.
Well, there isn't a surge in deaths, you fucking liars.
Right.
And your surge in cases are a lie, too.
Right.
Now, I haven't seen the numbers from Michigan or seen the inside.
Right.
But I know for a fact in Texas,
Yeah.
where their governor just came out and said everyone's now required to wear a face mask anywhere in public. That's what he just came out and said. And why? Because the cases have gone up.
Bullshit.
Yet there's behind the scenes, there's behind closed doors footage
Right.
of them discussing that if somebody has sneezes, coughs, sniffles, something like that, they'll assume that they have COVID, not do a test, assume they have COVID, and then assume that they've been in contact with at least 15 people, and they'll add 16 people to the fucking upsurge of cases.
Stupid.
It's a fucking lie.
Well, but that's my point, is when you said, look, if we would all just unite.
Yep.
And we don't even have to like each other.
Right.
Just
but
unite.
Look at this and go, this is a government overreach. There's no common sense.
Right.
There's no reality. There's no logic in it.
Right.
Oh, you can't serve alcohol? Dude, I walked through fucking Myers today with Matt to go get beer.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
And you know what?
Right.
There were people everywhere. And there were half the people wearing masks, and the other half of the people were not wearing masks. And we were in there like if they didn't have the masks on, it would have been a normal shopping day 6 months ago.
Of course.
Okay? So I'm like,
This is fucking dumb.
why are you shutting down bars for inside service?
For the
Why-
copious amounts of alcohol that everybody's buying at Meijer.
Yeah, Meijer, Walmart, and all these other big corporate places can stay open while the mom and pops get shut down.
Right.
It's fucking retarded, dude.
Look at what? Whistle Stop. Look at Jonas. Look at all these other places that sell.
Liquor, they stayed open.
Right. They stayed open.
Yep.
And I would rather much more go to
Absolutely.
Whistle Stop, Jonas, all these other mom and pop places that are
Yep.
selling top shelf liquor.
Yep. I go to my buddy's place.
Not because I'm a snob, but because I'm going to do my best to support local. And I've preached that from day one of being on our show, Don't Make This Weird.
Right.
Support local, support mom and pop, because that's part of your community.
But that's the concerted effort, is they know that the big corporations will conform to whatever edicts come down. You know, so when I was walking it, when you go to Menards is going to be a bunch of fucking Nazis about wearing a mask. Even though you have a legitimate medical condition.
Did I talk about that on the rant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though you have a legitimate medical condition of asthma.
Right.
That
I don't even have my... Oh, damn it. I was going to pull up my inhaler and show it, but yeah.
dude, it's like, what the... It's amazing to me. And the amount of people that are going along with it, and you're absolutely right. I've been saying that. If people would just stop, if the group would just band together. But you know what the problem is? Is the owner is afraid of losing his license.
Well, and well merited.
So
that's the thing.
he enforces it upon his employees.
Right.
And the employees and the owner are all like, God, this is so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I have yet to see, you see a few people that are a little bit militant. But
Right.
the vast majority are like, this is so fucking stupid.
What was it? Tisha, who's actually on the city council from where the hometown that I'm from.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's funny because some of the policies I agree with, some of them I don't. But she's being very vigilant in going through and attempting from her position on city council to go, look, you guys are perverting all of these bylaws to line your pockets.
Yep.
Where's the accountability for that?
Right.
Like, there is a owner right now who has multiple felonies and has been a repeat offender who has a liquor license.
Okay.
By Michigan law, you're not supposed to have a liquor license if you have one felony.
Right. And yet he's got a bunch.
And yet he has multiple. He's a habitual. And yet you have mom and pops right now that are law-abiding citizens, do not have a record.
Right.
And they're being forced into these confines of, well, if you sell more than blah, 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 blah.
70% of your sales.
Right.
Then you can make a mixed drink and hand it to somebody in their car.
Right.
Okay, are you kidding me? I told you last night. I went through fucking Taco Bell on the way up to your place, and I'm watching them through the window make my shit.
Yeah, dude, I stopped
And then they put it in a bag and
Yep.
they hand it to me in a tray. I'm like, are you fucking ridiculous, dude?
I stopped it.
I'm like, your gloves are less sanitary than your hands. Do you get that?
Right. I stopped it.
On your hands, if you touch something, it soaks into your hands. Okay? It soaks into you.
Right.
And then you don't transmit it as easily.
I stopped
It's a guarantee.
I
On a glove?
Yeah.
Whatever you've touched on your glove
Yep.
is completely 100% carried to the next thing you touch.
Yes.
So gloves, that's why in hospitals, ask a fucking nurse or a doctor.
They
are changing gloves
every
constantly.
single room.
Every time that they touch, they take
new
gloves
patient.
off. New
Right.
patient, new gloves.
Right.
Right? New situation,
Yep.
new gloves. Right? I've seen the signs in a few places. They're like, if you're coming into our place and you're wearing gloves, please take them off because you're transferring stuff.
Yeah. I come up the way that I come up. I stopped in Linden at the Taco Bell there, right?
Yeah.
Same story. The guy's literally holding like a lunch tray with a cup taped to it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, here you go. So I'm handing him my money because I was getting Crunchwrap Supreme because I wanted something to hold me over because I hadn't eaten all day.
Right.
And he's just like holding the cup out there. And I'm going, take the money. Oh, you got to put it in the cup.
Yeah.
Put it in the cup, right? He goes in, oh, okay, well, I'm going to change. So he hands me my change. Turns the little lunch tray thing over with the cup taped to it. And the change dumps in my hand. And then grabs my bag of stuff.
Yeah.
Puts it on the other side of the tray. The cup falls off because the tapes finally come off of it.
Fucking stupid.
And then hands me this little lunch tray with my bag that's literally sliding out of the window into my car. And I'm going, are you that afraid of human interaction?
They've been people are conditioned right now to do it, and so that's my whole point tonight. You asked me what's the show. Of course, it's 4th of July is tomorrow, and everything like that. But I'm looking at it from the standpoint of how many people feel truly free right now. How many people feel independent right now?
I don't give a fuck what they say because I know my rights.
Well, yes, you do, and I do.
Right.
But do you? Okay, so let me rephrase it. Do you feel that our government is doing what this says?
No, absolutely
to institute
not.
among us, right? Let me read it again.
Absolutely not, because they're trying to go through and pull this bullshit on a technicality. I had this conversation with Bill, and he's like, do you know why Governor Hitler got away with what she did? Because it was a loophole bullshit technicality.
That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their power. They are not securing my rights.
No.
They're violating every chance they get.
Right.
And then it says, again, the preamble of the Constitution. We the people, in order to form a more perfect union.
Thank you.
Establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty. The blessings of liberty. The word blessing means empowered to prosper.
Thank you.
The blessings of liberty. To ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution. So, are we in a situation right now that freedom is being promoted?
No. Absolutely not. No, it's all about constraints and fear and this, that, and the other thing.
Now, if we put on a fucking Antifa sign
Right.
and went and rioted,
Right.
we wouldn't have to wear masks. We wouldn't have to social distance. We wouldn't have to do any of that shit.
Right.
And nobody would say a fucking thing to us.
Well, no.
This is bullshit, dude. It's a double standard.
Well, it's a political driven agenda, depending on which side of the fence you're on. And here's the irritating part about it. I'm going off on another tangent because there's a point to this. I love
Get to the point, Tony.
the fact that like Ben Franklin, okay,
Yeah.
when they were
What did I say?
Right.
Didn't I start to say that quote?
Yes.
He walked out after they were doing the Constitutional Convention, and they said, "What have you got in us?" And he said, "A representative republic, if
Right.
you can keep it."
Right. The best part about that I loved about Ben Franklin is he wanted to have the turkey
As the national bird.
national bird.
Yeah.
Do you know
Instead
why?
of the eagle. I do know, but tell us.
Because it's one of the hardest fucking birds to kill.
They're all over the place right now. But he was also
Right.
He saw the eagle as a scavenger,
Right. Right.
as a carrion bird, as a
Right.
scavenger, whereas the turkeys were
A bit more noble in their
in his eyes.
right. But that was the thing, though, is he also understood the irony and the what's the word I'm looking for? The like Family Guy, Simpsons, what is that called?
Satire.
Satire, thank you. He understood the satire elements of the stuff that was going on during that time for the political temperament.
Well, Franklin was incredibly smart.
Well, and that's the thing.
He at 11 he owned his own company. He was doing his own, he was selling. He would buy newspapers and then jump on the train with the newspapers and sell them and make a profit off them.
Well, and when
Took
he was
over- I mean, he-
16 and writing Common Sense,
He took over his
or the
no.
Sense Do Good letters or whatever it was.
I think he was older in years, but yes, he was involved. He helped his brother.
Right. He was writing as a female for his brother's paper.
Wasn't that the what was her name? What did it call that? Do Good.
Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank on it. Anyways,
But you know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
And that's the thing is I wish that there was more.
Candy's pulling up.
Yeah, I wish there was more individuals like that could not only take the satire element of what our rights are supposed to be,
Right.
that not necessarily dumbed them down, but went, okay, hey, look.
Right.
And you made note of this when this whole COVID bullshit started happening. You're like, look, there's a lot of people that are waking up
Yep.
that aren't following the political agenda.
Yeah.
And they're pissed off about what's actually going on and going, this is not good
Yeah.
for either side.
And the thing that I'm looking for, it's like, in what happened right here in the Constitution or in the Declaration of Independence, they said it. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them to another, and to assure among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which laws, nature, and the nature of God and nature's God entitle them, to dissent respect to the opinion of mankind, and to declare the causes which impel them. So the two words that I love on there is when it becomes necessary, and
Right.
and to declare the causes that impel them to the separation. So right now, I don't see people free because they're not. They don't feel it's necessary to declare that this is bullshit. I walk in and I go,
This is bullshit.
And I've had more conversations, and I love it. And I've had very few people that have the.
You haven't had to deal with a whole lot of Karens.
I haven't done, Karens. No, I haven't. There's been two
Right.
that I've dealt with. There's been one.
Right.
I've had a few Karens that, there was an inspector that came on the job site, and it wasn't my job site. I was just a subcontractor there.
Right.
And the builder had asked me to hand him some paperwork when he got if I saw him and hand it to him. I said, that's fine. And he got there, and I said, you said you were the inspector? Yep. I said, I got the paperwork for you. I said, the builder's not here. Okay. Where's your mask? I said, I don't wear one. I'm outside fucking framing, dude. Are you stupid?
Right.
You know? I didn't
Now,
say that
mind
part,
you,
but I said I don't wear one. And he let it go.
Here's the
And actually, I saw him like 2 weeks later,
Right.
on the same job site.
Yeah.
And he walked by the trailer, and I was in it, and I did something with one of my screw guns,
Yeah.
and he says, you missed, and I didn't quite hear him, and I was like, what? Because you missed sounded like your mask. Right?
Right.
I'm like, we've already had this discussion, buddy.
Right.
And so he was walking by the back of it, and he got to the side.
Right.
And he goes, you missed. Like I was shooting at him.
Right,
I'm like,
right.
I didn't even see you walk by
Right.
the back of the trailer. Now you're walking by the door. I was like, oh, yeah, you know. I said,
right.
yeah, I missed you. He's like, all right, well, have a good day. I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm like, so that was one guy.
Right.
And then there was the lady at the one store up in Frankenmuth, and she said, she's like, sir, do you have a mask? Because I'm walking in.
Yeah.
He goes, I have a condition. She goes, oh, okay. And I kept walking, dude. I was like, fuck you. Did you find it, Candy?
Yeah, silence do good.
Silence do good. That's what it was.
Yeah. And does it say how old was he?
He was 16.
You're right.
16.
So he's 16, yeah.
Yep.
The silence do good. Yeah, dude, that guy was incredible. I mean, there's some shady stuff that is ascribed to him, of course, with the Hellfire Club and some stuff like that, and some. He
But that's
was
the thing.
definitely a philanderer.
When you look at the course of history for our forefathers, okay,
Nobody was perfect.
nobody was perfect, but they understood the greater good.
Yeah. I don't have to be perfect to try and help you be better.
Exactly. Thank you.
Write that shit down.
Is we've come from multiple different backgrounds. You know, obviously the music unites us.
Right?
You know, we have our spiritual beliefs that unite us, and there's even differences in those types of things, of
Right.
music and spiritual backgrounds. But
Yeah.
in the same token,
You like some people that I think just suck.
well, I mean, whatever. Shut up. but the point being is the differences still unite us.
Yeah.
Because there's a level of maturity that we can sit down and go, you know what, that's fucking dumb. Well, okay, so instead of being a
But,
grade
that's-
schooler, let's talk about
But that's
that.
the interesting thing is we don't necessarily do that.
Well, right, but that's
We
what
might
I'm saying.
do that in a joke, but
Right.
the reality is we go, all right, why do you think that way?
Right,
Explain
why do you
this to me?
Right, help me
I'm
understand
not trying
where you're
to
coming
just
from.
beat you up and say you're a fucking idiot because you believe that. But
Right.
that's pretty dumb.
My buddy Leon had this great comment that he said, "Look, your rights and at the tip of my nose, and vice versa."
And I've heard that before, and it's a good one.
And it's such a great quote, and I don't
Right.
know where he got it from because he doesn't take credit for that stuff. He's just one of those guys that's an avid reader like us,
Right?
and try to educate ourselves and go, okay, what is this all about? We need to have a certain level of maturity. We need to have a certain level of adulting properly and having the etiquette to do so. Mm-hmm. You know, this is not, you know, when you what's the word I'm looking for? When you've not recessed, but when you've is it recessed? When you've gone back and
Reassess.
well, I mean, like, okay, so, you know, obviously we're older, but you go back to acting like a 10-year-old.
Regress.
Regress, thank you. When you regress back to basically grade school playground rules.
Right.
Name calling, really poor character definition,
That is.
and trying to, well, you're a duty head, you're not in the cool kids club anymore, and you're not getting my milk and cookies.
That is. Where's it at?
Yep.
It's one of the logical fallacies behind me,
Right.
where you attack the person's character
Right.
versus their argument.
Right. Is it straw man?
No, that's misrepresenting someone's argument to make it easier to attack.
Oh, okay.
You misrepresent it.
Right. But when you look at
Ad
actual,
hominem.
when you
You attack your opponent's character or
Right.
personal traits
an
in an
attempt to undermine the argument.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is when you look at the breakdown of an actual debate to where it goes back to grade school playground rules, what's the point of having a debate?
Right.
You're not educating yourself. You're not being mature about it. You're not
Right.
giving true etiquette.
Yeah.
You're not extending common sense, let alone fluid thought to go, okay, I disagree with you.
Yep.
And here are the reasons why. Or I agree with you.
Yeah.
What else do you have to drive your point home?
Right.
And I've always found that fascinating with you and I. And some of the stuff that we've talked about, and other guests, obviously, that we've had on our shows,
Yep.
of going, I disagree with you respectfully.
Right.
Here's the reasons why. Or I agree with you. Finish with what the things that you're talking about, because we have something like this that we can stand on.
Right.
And it makes it so much easier when you have some of these people that come in and they go, oh, well, that's bullshit. I use that for toilet paper. Wait, what? Hold on. Time out.
Seriously?
Right.
The only reason you can make that statement is because this exists.
Well, and even more simplified is
You can only use this as toilet paper and act like you don't care because this,
right,
the founders put this together
Right.
to reassure
right,
the rights that they believed were obvious.
right.
Because if you were in some other countries,
Mm-hmm.
you'd have already been taken out in the street and shot for being a useless fuck.
Well, and that's the thing, is I think it's hilarious because when you look at the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, all of these things, in a nutshell, because of this, you have to defend my rights to be a dumbass.
Right.
And vice versa. I have to defend your rights to be a dumbass.
That's one of the quotes of Larry Flint.
right, exactly.
He's like, look, if I don't have the right to free speech and to peddle my, he used to say, if I don't have the right to peddle my smut,
right.
then everybody's going to be under attack at a certain point. You know? I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, if it doesn't support me,
What? And look at
and that was
Capitol
what,
Hill.
the people versus Larry Flint.
Yeah, look at Capitol Hill when the whole PMRC with Frank Zappa, Dee Snider, and John Denver.
Right. Because Rocky Mountain High was a pot song.
Right. But which one was it? Go ahead, pull that up real quick. Which one was it?
My right to swing my fist ends where your nose begins. Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Look at that. Yeah,
My right to swing my fist ends where your nose begins.
that's right. Because
right.
you're infringing on someone else's rights.
Well, and I used to I'd have to look up the quote again. Thomas Paine from Common Sense.
Yes.
And he said that government is, I mean, all of the founding fathers had opinions about government being a necessary evil.
Thank you.
But Thomas Paine wrote that he said, look, if men can conduct themselves in an honorable and noble fashion,
Right.
then government's completely unnecessary. But since they can't,
Right.
he said we have to institute the least amount of government to affect the most amount of security and freedom.
Well, and you and I agree on the subject of there's a lot of sheeple out there. And I use this caveat of the fact that because there is sensory overload with the news, social media, all of this stuff that is agenda and propaganda driven,
Thank you.
it confuses a lot of people that are simpler minded,
People want to tune out.
but they want people that are intelligent to think for them and go, well, no, I don't want the responsibility of doing that. Please make that decision for me. That's why we have elected officials.
But that's why that's the problem, is that they have life, liberty, and that's why I bring up the point that they were going to put property in there.
Yes.
Because one of the things that, and I've had this debate with people, and they go, well, when they came up with the Constitution, they didn't even give women the right to vote. Not true.
No.
There were women that voted.
Right.
There were blacks and anybody of any other ethnicities that voted had full voting rights.
As long as they were an American citizen legally.
Well, here's one of the stipulations. One of the things that they wanted to make mandatory, or I think they did, we have to look it up again, was that you had to own property.
Right.
They expected you to own property, and that was one of the parameters,
Right.
or guidelines, or stipulations for voting. Why? Because you have a vested interest.
Right.
You have an interest in this, in who's representing you, because you actually own something in the community. And that's why we read about it and go, life, liberty, those are somewhat abstract. I mean, life, what does that really mean to each individual person? Okay. Liberty, what does that mean? What is one man's freedom? One man's freedom is another man's chains,
Right.
is the phrase that comes out. We completely understand that there are some very viable general assumptions you can make about life and liberty. But property,
That's absolute.
that's an absolute thing. When you
That's
own
concrete.
property,
That's
that's
not
a fucking deed in your hand.
Right.
That's a possession.
And that's a land that
It's
you
not
labor.
a person, but it's a possession.
Right.
Okay. And so that's why I look at it. They considered it. They had that as a part of the original drafting was
Right.
life, liberty, and property, because, but then they realized that there would be a lot of people, or there were a lot of people that didn't own property, and they didn't want to exclude or alienate people. And they said, all right, the pursuit of happiness, whatever that happiness looks like to you. Because some people just didn't want to own property. Some people wanted to, work on somebody else's farm for a while, and then run through the woods for a while, and whatever. They didn't. So again, the point being is that when you have a vested interest in things, it makes it that much more. You fight for it. It's amazing to me. I talk to people that say they're Democrats. I'm a diehard Democrat, or and this and that, and I go, yeah, but you don't live like it, because if you did, you would give away all your shit according to their rules and all that stuff.
And Candy, pull this up, because I always quote it incorrectly. What was it? Brazil is why they speak Portuguese as opposed to Spanish, because they brought over trinkets of mirrors and precious stuff like perfumes and this, that, and the other thing. So when it came time to have Brazil in South America pick a loyalty, they speak Portuguese because they had something to lose.
Right.
And they fought to maintain those freedoms.
Right.
Which is why most people in Brazil and some of the surrounding areas speak Portuguese and not Spanish, because the Spanish just came over, murdered, butchered, raped, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
And went, no, we're taking this by force.
Yeah.
And the Portuguese came over and said, okay, we're going to give you these things.
Right.
You can swear allegiance to us or loyalty or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter. Oh, wait. Now the Spanish are coming back? If you want protection in your stuff, you're going to have to fight with us.
Right.
Or, I mean, it was...
Something along that line.
Well, I guess one of the original incarnations of extortion.
Yeah.
Similar to the
Well,
mafia.
it's how you control people.
Right.
And that's the thing is that's why we have...
the middle class.
That's why we have a lot of the things that we have. The builder's license makes you controllable. A barber license, they think they can control you. And, we'll just take your license away from you. A driver's license.
Go ahead.
We'll just take your driver's license. So okay. You put that in place so that you could have a control over people. The license, all these licensing things. And that's the only power that our governor and other governors of other states has right now.
What was that video that I had found that I sent to Taylor, and he just completely digested? It was the natural man appearing in court under special visit, and they were trying to go through and process him or get him thrown in jail because he was hunting for food on his own land.
Okay.
And he's like, look, you can take all of this British crap because you're not adhering to the American laws that were established by the Constitution and all these other things.
Right.
And you can, go piss up a rope.
Right.
Well, this guy literally pissed off the judge so bad that the judge got up and walked out of the courtroom. By law, once the judge leaves the courtroom, anyone else is free to go. So when he left, or when the judge left, he got up and was like, okay, well, judge left the courtroom, they're out. And it's such a cool video. Look it up. It's really cool
Sends me.
how he literally just went based off of his rights as natural man.
Right.
And, completely defended himself. And he said, okay, well, you have a right to a jury of your peers. Really? So you're going to go through and screen people that have no idea who the hell I am, that cannot attest to my true character.
Right. They're not my peers.
They're not my peers. I'm going to bring in 12 people that are my peers that can attest to my character.
Yeah. That's a jury of my peers.
That is a jury of my peers.
Right. And you cannot withhold information from them. They have the right to that's where jury nullification comes into.
Right.
The other copy of the Constitution the Declaration of Independence is the jury nullification handbook.
Right.
Citizens handbook.
Right.
And that one's powerful if you read through that.
Oh, yeah.
And they pass them out for free. You can call them up and they'll ship them to you. But again, yeah, jury nullification.
Yeah.
Oh, I got the right to call a jury of my peers.
Of course.
Well, not a bunch of buddies of yours. Why not? That's my peers.
It's a jury of my peers.
And you cannot, you as the judge, we've turned it all over to judge, and we operate more under maritime law than we do constitutional law in this country now. And that's been, all of this stuff is gradual. All of this stuff is a gradual encroachment upon what we've been given. And we end up with a system that's not true to the Constitution. It's not true. I mean, the amount of things so they use taxes, they use private corporations, they use government executive orders and usurpations here and usurpations, all as incremental encroachments upon the rights that we find to be self-evident, that God, you don't have the right to encroach on this. You can't tell me that I have to do something.
Right.
And then they lie. And they're in
my personal favorite
with the the media.
My personal favorite was the fact that you're being trumped up on some bullshit charges.
Yeah.
That you didn't even know your law. Well, being ignorant of the law
is no excuse.
And it's like, well, it kind of is when I don't even know that you've passed this law.
You go back
behind closed doors.
Dude, you go back and it says that no one shall be held in. Let me read this one, and then ask you the last time you've been to traffic court,
right?
Whether this applied to you. In criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed. So that doesn't say jury of your peers on that one.
Right.
Which district shall have been previously asserted by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. And let's say you have to hire a lawyer.
Right.
But that's what we've instituted, is that only lawyers can operate.
A counsel.
I have to walk in, take my belt off, leave my knife, leave my phone, leave all my electronic devices in my car. But someone with a bar that is past the bar, which is actually registered in England, can walk in there with their briefcase and all of their equipment. What's the other one? Right here. No person, here's what I wanted. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on the presentment or indictment of a grand jury.
Thank you.
When you dealt with your legal shit over the years ago, was it a grand jury?
Fuck no.
Oh, okay.
Dude, I was herded through like cattle.
Except in cases arising in land or naval forces or in the militia, when in actual service in times of war or public danger. That's why we've had these declares wars of the war on drugs,
Yep.
the war on poverty,
Yep.
is so that they can hide under that color of law.
Of course.
Nor shall any person be subject to the same offense twice, that's double jeopardy,
Yep.
put twice in jeopardy for life or limb, and not shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property. They do have property in here. Without due process of law,
Right.
nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. They're doing all sorts of shit right now.
We have had dealings with that when we were trying to go through and purchase certain property, and a certain city and some of the officials went, we're going to just keep this private instead of opening it back up to the public. Even though
Dude, they played fucking games.
Our
And
bids-
I told them to fuck off.
right, our bids were sealed and were not introduced to the public. And then we all had to literally go there and go, yeah, you know what? We're not doing this because it was supposed to be sealed, and you guys are trying to go through and play games here. So fuck off.
Yep. And I told them right there.
Right. And it was so freaking stupid because,
I said, you're playing games.
right. Why is it that we didn't go through and, do the whole, due diligence with that? One, because I'm not going to waste my time on that bullshit.
Right.
And two, that city hall at that point in time was so freaking corrupt, it was imploding.
Have you got those people out of there? A lot of them?
Yeah, most of them.
Tisha's on the council now.
Yeah, Tish on the council. She's pissing off a lot of people, and I think it's great.
She's a feisty girl. More power to
For
you.
the right reasons, And I told her, I said, hey, if you run for president, I'll vote for you. Just, throw me out some kind of lobbying favors or whatever. And she's like, okay, Machiavelli.
Right? That's the last thing you ask me if you really want me to run and be honorable.
Right.
Dick.
Well, and I mean, but that's the thing, though, is, okay, I don't agree with Niccolo Machiavelli,
Right.
but the dude got shit done. He wrote a book called The Fucking Prince. Look that shit up.
There's my father-in-law left a quote down here,
Yeah.
Machiavelli, but
The mafia,
I don't agree with everything that Aristotle put out, but there's a number of things I do.
And, I mean, and that's the thing, is you have to educate yourself in this stuff to where when you have a full appreciation of where these things came from,
Right.
you go, holy shit. This is literally the law of the land. Why are more people not going through and going, wait a minute, we actually have rights here?
Absolutely.
Why are we not defending them regardless of what partisan party we're attributing
What
to?
hacks? Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and that's the amazing thing is what we're looking at is are we truly not just embracing the freedom, but are we preserving, protecting, and defending it to the point of putting ourselves in jeopardy? Because that's what our forefathers did.
Of course.
And we're not. I mean, most people aren't. I mean, I don't even think it's really I really think it's much of a stretch for me when I walk into a store and they go, "Oh, you got to have a mask," and I go, "Oh, I have to have a mask to come in here." Well, I guess I won't come in here. I'm not going to. I've refused to wear a mask this entire time, and I will not wear one.
Right.
I had them, come in at one point on our job site and try to tell us that we need to wear a mask. The contractor we were working for.
Right.
And I said, no, I'm not wearing a mask.
No.
Not doing it, dude. Well, it's not, I mean, just, and I'm like, no, it's not a just. I do not agree with this.
Yep.
There's no scientific evidence to justify this government overreach.
CDC.
There is some evidence, but there is not a scientific justification for the draconian methods that you have instilled and enforced on the people. And furthermore, you are in violation of the Constitution. I hope our governor gets sued into
It
out of
was
office.
great. I actually had a conversation with a fellow church member of ours. And
We have
she's-
fellow church members?
she's a total sweetheart. It was great. She's like, can I have a hug? Because I'm really tired of being rejected by our church family that doesn't want to have anything to do with me because of this stupid thing. And I said, come here, let me get my Ronas all over you. Right? Now, and I do this respectfully.
Right.
But that's how we joke around. And I said, here's the great part about all of this. She's like, it is so toxic with social media and with people that I'm able to have, physical engagements with in conversation.
Right.
And she's like, it's so toxic and it's so hard to stay positive. And I said, well, here's the great part about that. You don't have to agree or like somebody to approach them from a sense as you're supposed to, with you bearing your fruit.
Right.
And loving them.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I'm having this whole thing. Well, you need to be more sensitive. And, if you're a Christian, you're saying. And I said, whoa. Hold on. Time out. What is the definition of what sin is? It was, and I tried to explain this to the best of my ability. Was it hamartia? Hamartano. That's what it was.
Both of them are, it's just a slight variation.
Right. And I told her, I said, look.
Like read and read.
Right. They would have these runners, these young individuals, that would be down downrange, and they would yell this because you missed your mark.
Right.
That is the Old Testament definition.
That's Greek, but yes, but you're right. It's taken from.
Right.
Yeah.
And I said, here's the thing. Okay, so somebody sins differently because they choose to be uneducated and be a sheeple. Does that mean you love them any less if we're all playing for the same team?
You try to be gentle with people.
Right.
If you get a Karen, then you might not.
We're not talking to the manager, Karen. But it was so funny because it was an opportunity to give a word of encouragement.
Yeah.
As you've done for so many people, including me, here at the Man Cave. And I went, look, it's not easy. If it was, everybody would do it.
Right.
But since you are searching for those answers, you are conflicted by the things of, if we're all playing for the same team, why are we being assholes to each other?
Because it gives people that power. It gives them a form of control.
Right.
And because they don't have a vested interest in, if you're, the people that are standing up the most are the people that own businesses. That's why I did the T-shirt.
Right.
It's not just the business owners, but the people that are affected by that. When I walked into that bar and those little waitresses looked at it, they were like, yes, we're essential. They've been out of work for, 6 weeks.
Right.
8 weeks.
Right.
Because they were deemed non-essential.
Right.
Well, I'm sorry. Fuck you. We're all essential.
Thank you.
I think that's what I think I just read that verbatim, didn't I?
Verbatim.
Yeah, fuck you. We're all essential.
Well, and that's what was the so funny part about it.
To deem somebody unessential
Right.
is so...
We're going back to the serfdom.
It's so demonic,
element.
dude.
Right.
How dare you say that somebody else is non-essential and you surreptitiously shut them down? If people are sick, advise them to stay home. We've got to shut down a pandemic. What kind of fucking pandemic has less than 6,000 deaths out of almost 10 million people? That's not a fucking pandemic. No. You lying sons of bitches.
And that's what pisses me off.
Not a fucking pandemic.
That's what pisses me off is so many...
Well, there's a lot more infected people. Bullshit.
Right.
You're lying about your fucking tests. You know your tests are a lie, and you're inflating the numbers. You're fucking liars.
There's so many innocent people that are buying this. They've been sold a bill of goods. Hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
And they're going, well, I don't really know what to think because, there's this...
Then go read the paperwork.
Right. But that's the thing is, as well as I do, some of this stuff...
They're lazy.
Well, no, it's been on there for a minute, and then it's gone. Like, how many articles have we discovered through the course of this process that we go back to show each other even? And they're gone.
Not just articles, but videos of the doctors and nurses coming out and saying, this is bullshit.
Right.
And then the next thing you know, it's deep sixed.
Right.
They get 6 million views in a 24-hour period, and then the video's gone.
See ya. Bye.
Fucking YouTube.
Yet somebody else has downloaded it and reposted it.
Right. Which is what we have to keep doing. We're going to keep pounding away at it.
And that's
and
what's so
things
incredible.
are going to... But they had to overreach. They had to do this so that more and more people wake up. And I see more and more people waking up. More and more people are switching sides, if there's even a side. This is not about tribalism and class warfare and shit like that.
No, it's about the fact that we're human beings.
Until I violate your rights,
Right.
leave me the fuck alone. And I'll leave you the fuck alone. And actually, I'll go beyond that. I'll leave you alone to do what you want to do.
Right.
But then I'll have fellowship with you. We'll hang out. I went on Jimmy's boat, like you said.
Right.
Wednesday after hockey.
Right.
Pulled up. Guy had a Trump sign on the back of his boat.
Right.
Went over, shook his hand.
Right.
A bunch of other people pulled up.
Right.
You know what? On a lake like that,
Right.
the vast majority of people are Trump supporters.
Of course.
You know why? Because they're hanging out with everybody.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, we just like to come out here and enjoy ourselves.
Right.
And it's the assholes that this vocal minority of assholes out there that support that leftist view of, well, you should be doing, shut the fuck up. Don't tell me what I should be doing.
Right.
Until I affect you, actually affect you negatively in such a way, then I should be charged.
Right.
And there's a process in the Constitution to do that. Until I do that, you don't have the right to tell me my grass is too long, or my building doesn't look right, or all this other shit. Fuck off.
Right. And that's the problem, is I think that, some of the rules that have been bent, or the guidelines that have been bent, has made a lot of this stuff, well, we have to interpret it this way. No. It's written in black and white in very plain wording.
Yeah.
That if you don't understand a word, you can look it up and go, oh yeah, got it.
And please, if you're going to read the Constitution and you come across a word that you don't understand, go to Webster's 1828 dictionary.
Thank you.
For the definition. Don't go to fucking the Urban Dictionary today online.
Right.
Okay? There's two different very good sites. There's, what is it, Schaeffer's? 1828?
Yes.
And then there's another one called 1828 Dictionary or something like that.
You
both
download
sites.
the app.
I have the hard copy.
Right.
I have 2 hard copies of Webster's 1828.
But no,
They're fucking huge.
That's the thing, is don't be afraid to educate yourself and not be a sheeple, for the simple fact is that, okay, it's not about political, it's not about religious, it's not about social. It's about, you don't understand something? Go
look
fucking educate yourself.
These pages are blank. We pulled up a few things that Candy pulled up on the fly.
Right.
And that's the reality. I'm not a news outlet.
Right.
I know what I read, what I glean from it, and more importantly, what I'm resonating with.
And this has been a huge topic of discussion across multiple platforms of the stuff that we've been talking about.
Right.
Because it comes back down to, we're not going through and being assholes for the sake of being assholes. We're going, look.
The other people are the ones being the assholes. Oh, you gotta wear a mask.
Yeah,
Don't you care about me? No. Oh, you're one of those people that thinks that I need to be forced to have a vaccine to protect you somehow. If the vaccines are effective, you get the vaccine and it'll protect you.
Right.
And then I'll deal with my own shit.
Well,
Not getting a vaccine for fucking COVID. I don't wear a mask.
No.
Oh, you want to wear a mask because you think you're going to infect me? Thank you. Appreciate it. You're not going to infect me because I have a strong immunity. So, but whatever.
That's the thing, is we're continually pushing the fact of, please, go educate yourself.
Exactly.
Do the due diligence. The double D's, baby. Go do the due diligence.
The double D's? I don't know if that's...
Due diligence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Double D.
Yeah. Whatever.
When you say the double D's...
Yes. Well, sometimes there's more than one due diligence.
Hey.
The point that I'm getting at.
Look that shit up.
Right. Look it up. Educate yourself. And if you don't understand it, go talk to someone. And keep talking to people and keep getting answers. Eventually you're going to go, wow, I learned something that I didn't know the day before. And guess what? You wake up tomorrow, it's a new day to get that shit right.
Hey, and we could go into a ton of stuff talking about that. But
we got to wrap it up.
We're going to wrap it up. because you're tired.
I'm exhausted.
I'm exhausted.
I was tired 4 months ago.
But we had a good show. I think we did a good job.
Yeah, we covered it.
Whenever you're listening to this, hopefully not too long after the 4th of July. But those of you that are tuned in live, we appreciate you guys on all across the platforms. Even though we tell YouTube to fuck off. But if you're listening to Restream, either way, celebrate your independence, celebrate your freedoms, not just on the 4th, but take the time to blow some shit up.
365
but
days a year.
Celebrate your freedoms and enforce your freedoms. When you don't be a dick about it, unless a Karen is getting in your face, and then if Karen's getting in your face, then she initiated the dick move.
Yes.
But stand your ground and say, no, I will not conform to unjust law, unjust, not even laws, unjust. I will not
tyranny.
I will not conform to this injustice.
Right.
And it is
right
to shut down a business because of a supposed fear of something you can't see in the first place, when the numbers do not bear it out at all.
Right.
At all. This is less than a normal flu
season. Man, it's fairy dust. It doesn't exist.
It's less than the normal flu season of what they're claiming, and we know that what they're claiming is inflated and full of lies. It's like, are you kidding me? Yep. Oh, we've got more cases. Wait a minute. How many more tests did you do? Well, we're doing a lot more testing. Well, then it would stand to reason that you could potentially have more cases if you're doing more testing. But let's take a look at your test. Is your test fucking fraudulent? Well, okay. Then there's where I'm going to tell you to go fuck yourself. But I don't want to leave it on that note. I want everybody to have a blessed and
we are
enjoyable
on SolidStateRadio.net.
Yes, absolutely. If you would like the T-shirt that Tony has on, find us on Instagram. This is my brain on Instagram. You can probably message us. You can message on Twitch too, and Facebook, or not. We're on Facebook. There we go. We don't live stream on Facebook because fuck you. But
we are all
we are all essential, and celebrate your freedom. Celebrate your stuff.
Blow some shit up.
I am Jeremy Scott Gibbs. This is Mr. Tony Bradley, #1 earwig. Candy was kind enough to sit in on the camera down there and do the computer shot.
Look at that whole filter. It just looks amazing.
It does, except for the Jets Pizza advertisement there. We had Jets Pizza for... It's because we band practice when I was like, we don't have anything. All right, we're just going to have to order.
We didn't do steak. We did pizza. It's still good. It's not really gods.
The pizza is good.
Yes.
But it's not not steak, and it's not, Tomorrow we're going to do brats, and there'll be dishes to pass, and we're going to have a good time. We're going to party out and play some music, and so thank you for joining me, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
And with that, we're out of here.
We are out.
This is my brain.
Dad, that's an egg.
Yeah, that's an egg.
Honey,
Dude,
that's an egg.
seriously,
Yeah,
that's an egg.
It's a metaphor.
yeah, but that's an egg.
That's an egg.
All right, Jeremy, I hate to break it to you, that's an egg.
I know my brain is not actually an egg, okay? It's a metaphor.
Metaphor or not, that's not your brain.
It's just an egg.
Una cerveza para mí.
My egg is my brain.
It's still an egg.
Can I at least have some bacon, maybe some sausage with that egg, though?
Oh, I want some bacon.
I don't know, man. I'm not good at this shit.
I want crepes.
Can I
Okay.
have some bacon and pancakes with that egg?
I'll take it with scrambled eggs and cheese.